I know that you're a part of the HAPA group and you've won that award, being half Asian. So can you just tell us a little bit about that?
So HAPA is a Hawaiian-derived word that just stands for of partial or half Asian American race. It primarily was because there's a lot of Japanese mixing with Hawaiian Americans in Hawaii, so that's where the word came from. But I connect with it as it's a mixed identity, and just in general growing up, as my mom came from Hong Kong. I don't know if it's a little obvious, I'm not full Chinese, but she came from Hong Kong, Chinese, and then my dad was American Irish. So growing up, I felt a little disconnected with both ethnicities because they're just very different and contrasting from each other. And I had a really hard time struggling with identity. And it wasn't really until college and the past couple of years where I really found myself being blessed to be able to see both ethnic sides, both perspectives of the world, and just like having a fuller cultural understanding from both Asian American communities and American white communities.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your passion and like what motivates you to get up in the morning every day?
Yeah, well, the first thing that motivates me is my dog, because she's always like, come on, let's go. I have to use the bathroom. But more on a deeper level, what really motivates me, all as cliche as it sounds, is my mom, because she came here at my age right now from Hong Kong. And I feel that's so crazy to be traveling the world, entering a place where you don't know the language. She was also escaping because of the Chinese turnover, and just having forced to leave her home and just completely changing, flipping her whole environment at such a young age. Because personally right now, I do not know how I would be able to handle such a situation. So just seeing her overcome and have so much grit and endurance through that is always so motivating to me and inspiring to me. Whenever things are hard and exhausting, I'm always like, you know what, if my mom could do that, I can do this. I can study for this MCAT. Like, yeah, that's what motivates me every day.
Can you tell us how that has translated into your career life and, you know, how you got into your major and stuff like that? Yeah.
I grew up with my mom, single mom, for a long period of time. My dad wasn't in the picture. During that time, my mom actually got really sick with a fibroid that was basically just like sucking the energy out of her, sucking the life out of her. It got to the point where she was like fainting, and I was 12 years old, having to wake up in the middle of the night to make sure she wasn't going to like pass out. And because I had to grow up so fast from that experience, and I had to learn how to communicate with nurses, paramedics, doctors, etc., I really found that the patient care for immigrants in America is really lacking, even in the Bay Area. So it really inspired me to continue my love for science and my love for health. I always loved to play doctor, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to fix the patient care for immigrant communities and underserved communities. And eventually, I hope to help with education, both for immigrant communities and just overall about different, like the education system, you know, about all these multifaceted cultures we have in our beautiful melting pot of America. So that's why I want to be a doctor.
Could you tell us a little bit like how you plan on educating the people and helping the people? Because I definitely know that there are educational barriers between doctors and patients. So like what are some things that you plan on doing to help with that barrier?
Yeah, so hopefully after I obtain my MD and I'm a little bit less in debt, I want to start a couple nonprofits on the side of the immigrant educational programs. A lot of immigrants, when they think of healthcare, they have a lot of negative thoughts. They feel like, oh, I don't want to see the doctor, he's just going to say bad things, or they just have had a lot of bad experiences, which keeps them from going to get the proper health care that they need. So both on the immigrant side and helping to educate the masses that you should go to the doctor and don't worry, we'll take care of you. And then also helping to educate doctors and hopefully encouraging the medical school program to implement classes that are very cultural specific for understanding the different perspectives each patient has, more than just their health history, but their actual cultural history. I think is very important to become a well-rounded doctor. And then Eventually, maybe this is long term, but I really hope so. One day, I hope to start nonprofits that help those younger children in the underserved and immigrant children or immigrants themselves, communities, helping them realize that they can go to a four-year college, they can become a doctor, they are the future, have a voice in America, and mentoring them so that they feel needed in America and they feel like they belong. So
Yeah,
that's the long-term plan.
can you describe the most important lesson that you've learned in your life and how that's sculpted you into the person that you are today?
I learned to do something you regret rather something you regret doing. There's been many instances as a child I was really shy. I never had the encouragement to go ask for something or stand up to a bully or just speak up against bullies to my mom. And that was something I really regretted doing. I always wish I'd spoken up against that rude one lady in the supermarket. I really wish I had just asked for the food from my papa. I don't know why I was so nervous to talk to her. But I was always so shy and I always regretted all those things. I would think about them for nights. So I learned my lesson from regretting it, and from now on I responsibly try and do everything without regretting it.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to your life story as well. And I definitely feel like, people who are aspiring to become doctors like you can definitely see that career path that you are building for them too. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me.